The 1960s was a decade of boundary-pushing design and raw power. But behind the iconic silhouettes and chrome bumpers lay a dark reality of corporate negligence and engineering insanity. We're talking about features so dangerous, so ill-conceived, that they didn't just fail, they were eventually banned by law. Number 1. 1960 Chevrolet Corvair, the Spear steering column. We start with the poster child for automotive disaster. The early Corvair featured a rigid, non-collapsible steering column. In a head-on collision, the steering box, located ahead of the front axle, would push the solid steel shaft directly into the driver's chest. Bold corporate greed kept this design in place until federal laws forced a change. Today, a rigid steering column is a legal impossibility. Number 2, 1961, Amphicar 770, the non-watertight seal. Someone thought a car that doubles as a boat was the future. The stupidity? It relied entirely on a single rubber seal and a bilge pump to stay afloat. If that pump failed, you were driving a lead weight to the bottom of the lake. Modern maritime and automotive safety laws now mandate redundant flotation and sealed hulls that the Amphicar simply ignored. Number 3, 1962, Peel Trident, Ain Surya, the solar oven. The Trident's feature was a clear plastic bubble top. It looked futuristic until you realized it had zero ventilation and acted as a magnifying glass. Owners reported cabin temperatures high enough to cause heat stroke in minutes. Today, mandatory climate control and UV-rated glass standards make this greenhouse on wheels a relic of banned stupidity. Number 4, 1963, Studebaker Avanti, the razor-sharp dashboard. The Avanti was fast, but its interior was a collection of jagged metal toggles and unpadded surfaces. In an era before mandatory seatbelts, these switches were essentially tiny knives waiting for an impact. Modern interior impact regulations now ban any protruding sharp objects from the dashboard area. Number 5. 1964. Chrysler turbine car, the asphalt melter. The turbine engine was a marvel that could run on perfume or tequila. The problem? The exhaust was so hot it literally melted the asphalt at stoplights and singed the paint off cars behind it. Today's thermal emission laws would never allow a vehicle to operate with such an external fire hazard. Number 6. 1965, Renault Caravelle, the death swing axle. The Caravelle used a primitive swing axle suspension. Under hard cornering, the rear wheels would tuck under, causing the car to vault into the air and flip. This suspension geometry is now effectively banned for passenger vehicles in favor of independent setups that actually keep the tires on the road. Number 7. 1960 King Midget Model 3, the wooden brake block. Yes, you read that right. Early versions of this microcar used a simple wood block braking system on the drive shaft. It was cheap, it was light, and it was utterly useless if it got wet or oily. Modern federal braking standards, FMVSS 105, demand redundant hydraulic systems that make wooden blocks look like a sick joke. Number 8. 1961 Plymouth Fury, the ingrown tail fins. The 1961 Fury featured sharp rearward-facing fins that were a pedestrian's worst nightmare. If you were struck by this car, the bodywork didn't just hit you, it hooked you. Pedestrian protection laws now strictly ban external protrusions that can increase injury during a collision. Number 9. 1966. Austin 1800, the land crab steering. The Austin 1800 steering rack was placed in a position that made the car scuttle sideways during suspension failure. This unpredictable handling led to its nickname and a legacy of insurance claims. Today's fail-safe steering requirements ensure that even if a component breaks, the car doesn't become a guided missile. Number 10. 1967. NSU RO80, the engine that erased itself. The RO80's rotary engine used apex seals that would disintegrate, spraying raw fuel and metal shavings into the combustion. It was a technological marvel that lasted about 15,000 miles. Modern durability mandates and emission standards have banned the sale of engines with such a catastrophic planned failure rate. Number 11. 1968, Subaru 360, the not acceptable body. Consumer Reports famously labeled this car not acceptable because its body panels offered zero crash protection. It was essentially a tin can. Today, the crumple zone and side impact requirements make the Subaru 3600's paper-thin construction illegal for sale. Number 12. 1962, Dodge Lancer GT, the radioactive luminous gauges. Some early 60s dash clusters used radium-based paint for nighttime visibility. While the levels were low, the lack of shielding was a health regulator's nightmare. Today, self-illuminating radioactive materials in car cabins are strictly prohibited in favor of LEDs. Number 13. 1963, Checker Marathon, the bus station bench. The Marathon sold durability by removing all comfort. The seats were unpadded, rigid structures that offered zero lateral support or whiplash protection. Modern FMVSS 202 standards mandate head restraints and energy-absorbing seat backs that the Checker completely lacked. Number 14. 1964, Ford Anglia, the reverse slant window. The Anglia's rear window slanted inward. While it kept the glass dry, it created massive blind spots and acted as a pocket for carbon monoxide to swirl if there was an exhaust leak. Visibility and aerodynamic backflow regulations now dictate much safer glass angles. Number 15. 1965, Sunbeam Tiger, the killer weight bias. Shoving a heavy Ford V8 into a tiny chassis created a car that was 70% front weight. It would understeer until the limit, then snap oversteer violently. Modern electronic stability control, ESC, is now mandatory because cars like the Tiger proved humans can't manage that kind of imbalance. Number 16. 1961, Pontiac Tempest, flexible rope drive. The rope drive was a curved, flexible drive shaft. When it failed, and it did, it would whip around under the floorboards like a giant weed whacker, destroying brake lines and floor pans. Bold stupidity at its finest, modern driveline containment laws now require shields to prevent such carnage. Number 17, 1962, Oldsmobile F85, Jetfire, the methanol injector. The Jetfire required turbo rocket fluid, a water-alcohol mix, to keep the engine from knocking itself to pieces. If the tank ran dry, the engine would self-destruct under boost. Modern ECU-controlled limp modes are now legally required to prevent such catastrophic mechanical failure. Number 18, 1960, Corvair, the gas-fired heater. The early Corvair's heater was a separate gasoline-burning unit located in the trunk. If the heat exchanger cracked, it pumped raw carbon monoxide and gasoline fumes directly into the cabin. This feature is now strictly banned in favor of engine coolant-based heat. Number 19, 1966, Austin Healey Sprite, the bug-eye headlights. While cute, the protruding headlights were a pedestrian safety disaster and lacked any sort of impact-resistant housing. Today's pop-up and protruding light bands have killed off this design for the sake of safety. Number 20, 1967, Triumph GT6, the Widowmaker suspension. The GT6 used swing axles that would tuck in during mid-corner braking. The result? The car would pole vault over its own wheels. It earned the name Widowmaker before suspension safety standards finally made this design a crime. Number 21, 1964, Hillman Imp, the pneumatic throttle. The Imp used air pressure to move the throttle. It was laggy, unreliable, and could stick wide open if the lines leaked. Modern drive-by-wire systems require triple redundant sensors to prevent the unintended acceleration that the Imp was famous for. Number 22, 1965, A.M. Marlin, the blind spot king. The Marlin's massive fastback pillars created a 45-degree blind spot. You couldn't see a semi-truck next to you, let alone a cyclist. Modern field of view requirements now limit how thick a car's pillars can be. Number 23, 1962, Imperial Crown, the flashlight tail fins. The Imperial featured freestanding headlights and taillights that looked like they were bolted on as an afterthought. They were fragile and easily knocked off in minor bumps. Today's integrated lighting laws require lights to be part of the body structure. Number 24, 1963, Studebaker Lark, the liquidation build. In its final years, Studebaker's quality control was non-existent. Cars were shipped with missing bolts and leaking fuel lines. Modern Lemon laws and ISO manufacturing standards exist because of the absolute garbage that rolled off the Studebaker line in '63. Number 25, 1969, Chevrolet Camaro Z28, the noise pollution special. The original Z28 featured an exhaust system that bypassed all contemporary noise standards. It was loud enough to shake windows and wake the dead. Today's decibel limit laws and mandatory mufflers mean a stock 69 Z28 is technically too loud for the street in many jurisdictions. The 1960s were a wild ride, but these 25 disasters prove that classic doesn't always mean good. These cars were the reason we now have thousands of pages of safety regulations and banned features. They were the sacrifices made on the altar of automotive progress. So, the next time you buckle your seatbelt in a modern car, be thankful you aren't sitting behind a solid steel spear in a plastic bubble.